Hi, I'm Greg Knighton, president of BTOD.com, and today we're going to be showing you our refurbishing process for our Steelcase Leap V2 chairs. Today we're in our newest facility. This is a building that we purchased that we will be eventually moving into and doing the entire process. You can actually see behind me, we've got quite a few Steelcase Leap chairs here. Right now we've got about 1,300 chairs on hand. These are chairs that we get from various big corporations around the country. The chairs in the building right now came from places like Pacific Life Insurance out in California and Citibank Corp in New York City. Once these chairs come in on large semi-trucks, we're ready to take off the seat pads and the backrest, tear them down so that we can put them into the large Gaylords, where we'll drive them over to our partner, Dwayne from Cover It All, and he'll start the reupholstery process.
After BTOD drops off all of the seats at our shop by pallet, one of the first steps that we do is remove the staples from the original shell and pull them out of the original material so that we can in turn put them in the steamer that softens the glue to remove the cover from the foam. Here is the steaming process. Kind of a neat background on this. I did a little research on creating a steaming process that would stay in an insulated box. Everything is piped in with holes drilled in, and it allows the steam to come up and infiltrate the material and the foam, loosen the glue, and very easily comes off on the other end. So after we get done steaming the backs and the seats, we come over to this process. The original foam that is on these chairs is a really high quality foam, but what we found that adds a lot to it is putting a high density 1/2 inch on the bottom, and here Crafty is spraying glue on to make that adhere to that shell. What they do after that process is take the shell, now has a new piece of foam, the high density 1/2 inch on the bottom, and we put that original over the top. One of the main reasons that we put that foam on the bottom is to maintain its nice original shape and ergonomically correct. It's better for your legs when you're sitting in the chair. The next process is cutting the fabric for the backs and the seats. BTOD supplies the fabric for us, and the fabric is an open house Guilford of Maine, which is a very high quality fabric for upholstery, very high rub count. And here Crafty is tracing out the seat portion, and later he'll be doing the back portion. You can see him cutting it here. Next process is stapling the fabric that you watched earlier being cut. And so we lightly spray a foam adhesive and then drape the material over, smooth it down, and then it comes over here and gets stapled. And what that does, as you can see, it creates a really nice feel. There's no question that this is going to get a wrinkle in it or ever have the ability to move when being sit on, several thousand times. As you can see, we staple all the way around the edge, and it just gives it a really nice uniform look. After they get done stapling everything on, they do a nice quality check on it, making sure there's no wrinkles or anything, imperfections that they didn't like. And then it comes over here and they'll trim that excess material off. And we also make sure that we trim around the set screw holes where a plastic plate gets put back on over at BTOD. Here I'm going to be sewing this elastic piece, which it gives an additional stretch vertically to the back onto the base of the chair. This J channel, which is in turn sewed to this elastic piece, that gets clicked underneath the bottom of the chair and helps support the back. That also will end up getting clicked into the back of the chair. I sew the elastic on first to ensure that it's centered on that piece of material properly. You want an almost exact amount of room on each end So then after that is sewn on, I in turn put it's almost like an elastic plate that I sew in the back. I bring that down the first side, lock it in, and when I turn that corner, it's imperative that I have the right amount of space on each end. That helps give even more elasticity to that back, gives it a nice stretch vertically and horizontally, so that it gives it a really nice fit on that chair. Here I turn the back inside out, make sure my corners are nice and pushed out properly. And as you can see, you got a nice even amount on each edge. So all I do is bring this around. Every time I make sure that the seam is the exact same way, slide it on like a pillowcase. Then I bring it down here, make sure my seams are even, put my hand in here and make sure that that edge is pushed down nice and snug. I throw a couple of very short staples. That's the key on these backs. You don't want anything poking through the back and obviously feeling that when you sit down. So what I do is bring this up ever so slightly. The staples are going to go right on the other side of this ridge. As I'm turning the corner, I'm bringing that up so that you don't get any bunching. And then as I'm coming around my corner, I'm just making sure that I'm trying to even this out as much as possible so that you don't get any wrinkles on the front. That is the most important part. And your final product is a nice, beautiful taunt, no wrinkles. This will click into the bottom, and it turned out beautiful, as you can see. And here our final process is, I like going over with a lint roller just to get any little pieces of fuzz before we ship it over to BTOD, and then they do the final assembly and shipping over there.
So when we get our seats and our back pads from Dwayne's Cover It All, they come in these large Gaylords. Once we receive them, we actually start to rebuild the seats back, so they have a seat slide mechanism that gets reattached to the seat before they get paired with the chair. So Derek over here is actually going through that process, and you can actually see how he's rebuilding each of these seats back up with the seat slide mechanism. We actually take off the original tag from Steelcase and we put our own tag back on here. This is going to give you the date, the month when it was refurbished, and it gives you our information in case you need to make a warranty claim. This is important because we are the ones that are covering the warranty on all the BTOD refurbished chairs. Each day before we start production on the chairs, we actually go through and blow off the chairs just to get rid of the large debris. Then we bring them into the production room and we can start to test the chair. So you can see we've got a test seat on this one. The first thing that he wants to do is just check the 5-position backstop on the Leap. So you'll see he'll go through each one of these just to verify that it does in fact stop in those correct positions. After he's done that, he'll check the tension on the seat recline, or the seat in the back recline. Just make sure that it's in fact working. And then lastly, he'll go through and he'll actually check the height adjustment mechanism to make sure that it's locking in all the positions. After we test the seat mechanism and the armrest height adjustment, we're ready to flip the chair up on the table. You can see we've got a custom box here that holds it in place. He's gonna take a large pipe wrench and he's gonna pull or turn the cylinder out. Once he pulls that out, he's gonna push the cylinder out of the base, pop the casters out of the base as well. After we've pulled the old cylinder out of the chair, he's actually going to take a new cylinder. This one's a side activated cylinder. What we do here is we've got a jig made. We want to make sure that we marry the cylinder that's going to ship with the chair to ensure that it works as it should so that a customer receives a fully functioning chair. This is how we test that process. You'll see he'll put on the seat and then we'll go through, sit on the chair, and you'll see it go up and down and make sure that it works perfect. So now you're gonna see he's gonna use a strap wrench to pull the cylinder out. This is really important. So this is the cylinder that's going with the chair. We wanna make sure we use the strap wrench so that it doesn't mar up the cylinder, so that it is still brand new when it ships to the customer. After we pull the casters and the cylinder out of the base, we're ready to actually go through and vacuum and clean up the bottom of the chair. He's got 2 vacuums on his workstation. This is important because we want to have a clean vacuum and a dirty vacuum. So this brush is used when the chair is dirty. The other vacuum you'll see later is for the upholstery. It's important that we use that brush too because it actually agitates the dirt and the dust on there and does a really good job of pulling out any of the dirt. And you'll see now he's pulling off the arm pads, and once these come off, he's gonna be ready to flip that chair over to the other side. So after we flip the chair back over, we're ready to start checking the arms, the tension on the arms specifically. So with the 4-way adjustable arm pads, we've found that some of these mechanisms can be loose on the older chairs. So what you'll see is Ryan's going through making sure that they feel tight enough. If they're not, like this one, it's a little bit loose. He would actually go and start tearing this arm down, rebuilding it back up by replacing the washers, the original washers that are in there to get that tension right. Regardless if these are right or the tension's good on them, we will still go through and thoroughly clean to make sure that everything looks really nice. So after Ryan goes through and makes sure that the arms are all cleaned up and that the tension is right, he's gonna take that dirty vacuum again and go through the top side of the chair, making sure that all the nooks and crannies are cleaned up, all the dust and dirt is out of the chair. So after we go through and we use the dirty vacuum to clean up the chair, we're ready to use a back to black, or in this case, it's a combination of a back to gray and a back to black to match the midnight frame. The reason why we do this is the oxidation that happens naturally in the plastics. We want to bring it back to that new look. So we'll put that on the chair. You'll actually see that it looks a little bit darker than the frame should at first. At the end of the process, we'll wipe it down, which will take that color, make it match perfect to the original frame, and take the excess material that's on the chair, the solution on the chair, and remove it. So now he's ready to do the final process where he's actually wiping down the excess material or solution on the chair. And once he's done with the actual chair frame here, he'll do the same thing for the chair base. The next step in our process is one where we re-lubricate the sliding mechanism in the chair. So what we do here is we use a white lithium grease. Just naturally, there's a lot of friction that occurs because these are plastic parts, and so over time, it will naturally stick a bit. And so what we want to do is we want to make it feel like a new chair. And this is the same type of material that they use, or same type of grease, excuse me, that they use in the Steelcase chair when they're new. So you'll see he'll get both ends. He'll actually move the chair back and forth to kind of work it in. Then he'll take it and he'll spray it to inside, and then on the glides again here, you'll see. And once he's got it worked in, he's going to actually clean it up here, make sure it looks nice. So we're now ready to go ahead and attach the seat glides to the mechanism. You'll see that these gloves that he's been wearing here are considered to be his dirty gloves. So we like to make sure that we have dirty gloves when we're doing dirty work on the chairs, and our clean gloves for the clean processes. He's ready to actually go ahead and reattach the arm pads now. So these are going to be brand new clean arm pads. So he'll go ahead and get these attached to the chair. Now that the arm pads are attached to the chair, he's going to attach the seat pad and the back pad. This is kind of unique for us. We like to have the chair almost fully assembled. It's important because this assembly process for the end user in the field is a little bit difficult, but Ryan's an expert at it, so you see he gets it slid on there, no problem. He'll attach the back pad here as well. So now that the seat and the back pads are on the chair, you're gonna see that he's going to use the clean vacuum, and he's just gonna go through the chair again, make sure that everything's nice and clean, specifically the upholstery here. It's important that the chairs leave in perfect condition. So once it's vacuumed, we'll go ahead and put a bag on it. This will seal the chair up so that when it gets in the box, we can guarantee that you're gonna receive a nice clean chair. He's now putting the cylinder in the box here that's gonna ship with the chair. The plastic that's on the chair is actually going to protect the chair too from any abrasion when the chair is rubbing in the box as it's being shipped across the country. You'll see this packaging here is something that we had done custom for us here at BTOD for our chairs. The last thing he'll do is pair the base with the casters that the customers ordered. He'll pre-assemble these to the base. He'll go ahead and put this in the bag, and then he'll place it in the box. One thing you'll notice too about our box after he puts this in is that we've got it designed so that it's easy to pull out and start your assembly. We've got another video for that if you want to check that out. He'll throw an assembly instruction set in there. Now that Ryan's finished boxing up the chair, it's ready to go out to shipping and be picked up to FedEx and ship out to one of our customers around the country.